I don't know how to describe it other than like a demon type of sound.
But it's silhouetted, hulking, every bit of 5.5 feet wide, 13 to 14 foot tall, pitch black.
The one thing that ran through my mind when I had this encounter was I don't have a big enough gun.
Your host, two-time witness and field researcher for more than 40 years, William Jevning. Welcome to Creek Devil.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bigfoot Breakdown. David, we might have another Lulu this time.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to read, and again, I went through a lot of after we moved, I had to reconsolidate stuff in my office. So I was going through and trying to organize some of the papers I have. Seems to be a huge amount of, and, finding stuff for this particular show. But, some of the stuff you just never know. So this one, it cracks me up. It says, rescued from the trash can of Bigfoot orthodoxy. Alternative Bigfoot folklore. Oh boy. A small collection of Bigfoot folklore that suggests an alternative explanation to the Bigfoot phenomena. An explanation. Why this section exists. Please read first. Oh. Well, let's just go into these and see what they say. A word about these paranormal legends. So at the beginning it says a warning of sorts. I can hardly wait. I haven't read this, so. Okay. Throughout the history of the Bigfoot legend, this is only 2 pages, this one, there have always been a certain small minority of beliefs fueled by legend and sighting accounts that are, well, unusual. How unusual? How about sightings and rumors connected to Bigfoot to dwarves, elves, the little people, UFOs, aliens, especially the Nordics, amber balls of light, failures of electrical equipment and electromagnetic interference, parallel dimensions, and dimensional travel, and government cover-ups. And if that's not enough, everyone from Native American legend tellers to some modern-day researchers, endow Bigfoot with unusual abilities. Oh boy. Such as telepathy, telekinesis, astral projection, above-human intelligence, shape-shifting, conscious mind-based reality distortion, time travel, remote viewing, and invisibility.
Is that all?
I don't know. I haven't got to the next paragraph yet. I'm just a little, I don't even know where to place all, well, I know where to place all that in the circular file, but, okay, let's go on and see what it says. Is any of it true part of the Bigfoot phenomenon? I don't know. Excuse me. But true or not, it certainly is interesting. It might be interesting to the psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot endorse any of the files below as truthful in content. I wasn't present when any of it happened. Though I wish I was. I'm kind of liking this writer. I spent a long time thinking about this forum before I set it up. The psychic Bigfoot field has received so much scorn and abuse over the years, much of it self-generated, though some of it, in my opinion, undeserved. Undeserved. I think it's, I'll let it go. That I was afraid of being black labeled as having fallen into the wrong crowd. Psychic Bigfooters are not just disliked, they're hated, often for personal reasons without merit. Oh, not without merit. Let me read that again. Sorry, my earpiece fell out. I can't see right when I can't hear, so.
That's right.
Okay. Let me go back a little bit here. That I was afraid of being blackballed as having fallen in with the wrong crowd. Psychic Bigfooters are not just disliked, they're hated, often for personal reasons, not without merit. Okay, so that makes sense. I've worried about not only being declared a persona non grata by the Bigfoot community, but also regular lay people as well. I get awfully nice email from all over the world, often from students and young people thanking me for my page. I don't want to get weird on them, or even create the illusion of getting weird on them. For the record, I believe that all aspects of the Bigfoot phenomenon are explainable by science. I believe that mainstream science does not understand some of this phenomenon, but could if it tried, or indeed bothered to. One long-time researcher warned me, be careful about going too far down that psychic path. You might not be able to get away from the fringe crowd that begins to follow you. What with your web exposure? Sadly, this has become true. For the record, I talk to no one about this. I am affiliated with no other promoters of the psychic Bigfoot field, otherwise known as paranormalists, Wookiee believers. Oh boy, big screwballs and the lunatic fringe. You know, Krantz is the one that started that lunatic fringe thing.
Oh, yep.
Even worse, some of these individuals will often try to out individuals such as myself, claiming that I hold similar beliefs to theirs, in order to make themselves seem more credible. This is yet another technique of self-aggrandizement on their part. If anyone makes such claims about me, I recommend you ask me about them first, and we can have a big laugh about it later. Ooh. Oh, God, here we go. Finally, as Ray Crow, director of the Western BS Society and editor of the Track Record, says, always keep your skepticals on. We're back to the skepticals.
We can't get away from that.
I know, we may have to adopt that as ours.
Right?
Oh, boy. Okay, so in this same stack here, I staple all these together. Now, whether they're related or not, I'm not sure. But let's take a look. So, this it says untitled, Why Puzzling Powers of Animals Have Been Neglected. Why puzzling powers of animals have been neglected. Okay. Excerpt from 7 Experiments That Could Change the World by Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. Institutional biology is currently dominated by the mechanistic theory of life, according to which all animals and plants are essentially complex machines. In principle, fully explicable in terms of ordinary physics and chemistry. This theory is far from new. It was first proposed in the 7th century by Descartes. As part of the mechanistic philosophy of nature, the cosmos was a machine, and so was everything within it, including human bodies. Only the conscious, rational mind of man was different, being spiritual in essence. The mind was supposed to interact with the machinery of the body through a small region in the brain. In many ways, this mechanistic approach to life has been effective. Factory farming, agribusiness, genetic engineering, biotechnology, and modern medicine all bear tribute to its practical utility. And in terms of fundamental understanding, such has been learned about the molecular basis of living organisms. The nature of the genetic material, DNA, the chemical and electrical activities of the nervous system, the physiological role of the hormones, and so on. Okay, let me move this over a little bit here. Academic biology has inherited from the 17th century science a strong faith in reductionism. A more complex system should be applied in terms of smaller and simpler parts. Originally, it was believed that the atoms form in the fundamental bedrock of all physical explanation. Now that atoms are known to be complex structures of activity composed of subatomic particles, themselves patterns of vibration within fields. The seemingly solid foundations of materialistic science have been dissolved. In the words of philosopher of science Karl Popper, though modern physics, materialism has transcended itself. Nevertheless, in academic biology, the reductionist spirit remains strong and gives a great impetus to the attempt to reduce the phenomena of life to a molecular level. At this point, it is believed the baton of reductionism can be passed to the chemists, who in turn pass it to the physicists, as molecules are reduced to atoms and finally to subatomic particles. Hence, molecular biology is one of the most prestigious and well-funded of the life sciences. Meanwhile, fields of inquiry that are inherently holistic have low status in the hierarchy of science. For example, ethology, the study of animal behavior or morphology, the study of the forms of organisms. Get about 4 more pages here on this. However, from that time, when Descartes first proposed it, the mechanistic theory of life has been controversial. And until the 1920s, it was opposed by a rival school of biology known as vitalism. Vitalism is the doctrine that living organisms are truly alive. Wait a minute. Vitalism is the doctrine that living organisms are truly alive. Mechanism is the doctrine that they're literally inanimate and soulless. For more than 2 centuries, vitalists argued that living organisms were animated by vital principles not known to physics and chemists from the study of the inanimate matter. By contrast, mechanists always claimed that there were no such things as vital factors of life getting too far here. Let's see. Yes, he's claimed that there were no such things as vital factors or life forces. Their active faith was that even if everything about living organisms could not be yet explained in terms of physics or chemistry, at some stage in the not-so-distant future it would be. Because vitalists admitted that the existence of unknown vital principles, they tended to be open-minded about the possibility of phenomenon that could not be explained in mechanistic terms, such as psychic phenomena in humans and uncanny powers in animals. By contrast, mechanists, as a matter of principle, were generally closed to the possibility of any phenomenon that seemed inexplicable in terms of current physics or chemistry. So I'm thinking this is the group where mind speak and all that nonsense comes from.
Yeah.
Mechanists often invoke the argument called Occam's razor. This razor was originally used by medieval Oxford philosopher William of Ockham, as a way of denying that theoretical constructs have any reality outside of our minds, on the grounds that entities are not to be manipulated unnecessarily. Multiplied. Entities are not to be multiplied unnecessarily. The simplest hypothesis is to be preferred. But when mechanists used Occam's razor, they did not do so in any strict philosophical sense, but merely as a justification for the sticking to the currently orthodox scientific point of view. They usually take it for granted that mechanistic explanations are the simplest, even though they attempt to apply them in practice to, say, predicting the behavior of an ant on the basis of the structure of its DNA. Would involve calculations so fiendishly complex that they could not be done. Any postulated non-material fields, forces, or principles are to be rejected, unless they have already been accepted by the physicist. Mechanists have always feared and still fear that to admit the reality of anything mysterious or mystical in the realm of life would be to abandon the hard-won certainties of science. I guess they want us to just believe nonsense.
Yeah.
For those outside established science, these old controversies may seem dusty and remote, but unfortunately they're still relevant today. Most biologists, agriculturalists, and doctors have been brought up to believe that the mechanistic theory represents the triumph of reason over superstition, from which true science must be defined at all cost. Nevertheless, psychic phenomenon have refused to go away. Animals continue to behave uncannily. Psychic stories persist about Bigfoot. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go, down the rabbit hole. From Native Americans to Fred Beck to Eric Beckjord. Oh God, Eric Beckjord was insane, literally. And Bigfoot remains uncannily elusive wherever an effort is made to find him. Non-mechanistic forms of medicine flourish outside the orthodox institutions. Popular doubts about the practice, I'm not sure what they're meaning because they went to Bigfoot, then he went off to alternative medicine. Okay, I guess I'll just wade through this. So he says, non-mechanistic forms of medicine flourish outside the orthodox institution. Popular doubts about the practical applications of mechanistic principles in factory farming, forestry, agribusiness, and vivisection are growing rather than diminishing. The prospect of genetic engineering excites more fear than admiration, and the mechanistic theory of evolution by blind chance and natural selection has failed to win the hearts and minds of most people, despite the strenuous efforts of neo-Darwinian evangelists. All these factors conspire to produce a defensive attitude in many biologists, and an unwillingness to explore the possibility that life may be stranger than anything dreamed of in old-style physics. This helps to explain why the puzzling phenomena, namely Bigfoot in our case, has received so little attention by professional researchers. Although the old vitalist mechanist controversy has done much to shape the attitudes of present-day biologists, it is no longer, in my opinion, to be fruitful in any way to explore the nature of life. Since the 1920s, a broader alternative to the mechanistic theory of life has grown up in the form of the holistic or organismic philosophy of nature. From this point of view, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. Not only living organisms, but also non-biological systems, such as molecules, crystals, and galaxies, have holistic properties that are not reducible to their parts. Nature is made up of organisms, not machines. While academic biology is still under sway of an old kind of thinking, a paradigm more than 3 centuries old, other branches have been in many ways moved beyond the mechanistic worldview. Since the 1960s, the entire cosmos has looked more like a developing organism than a machine, continuously growing and evolving new patterns of organization within itself as it does so. The rigid determinism of the old-style physics have given way to a recognition of inherent spontaneity in nature. Through indeterminism, it's getting darker. I'm having a hard seeing some of these words. At the quantum level, through non-equilibrium thermodynamics, and through the insights of chaos and its complexity theories. In cosmology, there has been a recognition of a kind of cosmic unconscious through the discovery of dark matter, the nature of which is utterly obscure, but which nevertheless seems to constitute some 99% of the matter in the universe. Meanwhile, quantum theory has revealed strange and paradoxical aspects of nature, including the phenomenon of non-locality or non-separability, whereby systems that were once part of a larger whole retain mysterious connectedness even when they are many miles apart. Just not sure about all that. Okay, let's see. We're almost done with this. Biologists in general take an old-fashioned view of physical reality. They have, by definition, specialized in biology. Most have little or no education in quantum mechanics or other aspects of modern physics. Ironically, many are still hoping to reduce the phenomenon of life to the physics of the past, but the physics has moved on. Okay, so this ideological background helps to explain why the seemingly extraordinary powers of animals have been neglected by professional researchers, and extraordinary animals as well. And consequently, by such fundamental questions remain open. Does Bigfoot exist? Does it have psychic powers of some kind? However, I am not advocating any particular theories to explain them. I believe currently orthodoxy is too limited, too narrow, but I also believe that the way forward depends on what nature itself tells us. At present, we need more facts. That person spent a lot of time talking about these 2 ways of thinking, and didn't say anything about how it applies to Bigfoot.
Right.
Oh, man. Let's see. See if there's anything else in here that's applicable.
It sounded to me like he was trying to lean more towards the point of why they wouldn't have psychic abilities and paranormal abilities and whatnot as a physical creature.
Well, I know people are there'll be some people that might disagree with this, but there haven't really, even in humans, psychic ability is not really proven.
True.
Because to prove something, you have to be able to reproduce it. You have to have, set the conditions and reproduce it. You can't just say, oh, it happened once and so that's that. It has to be reproducible. So,
yeah, when they say reproducible, people need to understand that when they say, they don't mean just one time, but they mean over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, right. Well, I think there was some other stuff here, but it was more in sightings. I think we can do that on another episode here with these when we're doing sightings. I don't know. That was kind of a struggle to read through, because some of the wording and Enlighten here is not real great at the moment. So,
well, one thing about people that believe that they have paranormal abilities and they can read minds or mind speak, these people go through the trouble of putting this stuff out, and then they get upset when people make fun of them. You have to expect that when you put something out like that not everybody's going to agree with, you're going to get some backlash. And if you can't handle it, don't put it out and don't complain.
Well, I've had people ask me things like that. Well, Bigfoot can mind speak. And my question is, okay, of all the species that have ever existed on this planet, name another one that has the same ability.
Right.
What evolutionary advantage does that have for them that wouldn't apply to other species?
Exactly.
So, and I'm telling you, everything I found over, 50 plus years of doing field work does not point to things like that. Everything is right there with all the other physical aspects that other wild creatures have.
Yep.
They eat, they sleep, they poop, they do all the other things that everything else does out there. There's no surprises.
Very explainable stuff. Just people, they want it to be, it's like I said a while back. A lot of these people, in their heart, they think that this creature's never going to be proven real. So they just come up with all this crap that fits what they believe and think and spread it out amongst the different people in the field as fact or something that they believe could be possible. And when it does come out that it is real and that it can't do those things, all those people have done is label themselves.
It'll be a footnote in history. Somebody will write in a book, and this is what people used to think before this was proven real.
Yep.
Well, I think that'll do it for this session. Folks, tell us what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Creek Devil. If you or anyone you know has had an encounter with these creatures, please contact us at williamjevning@yahoo.com. That's William, Jevning, @yahoo.com. All communication is confidential. Join us for another program next week. And until then, keep your eyes open out there.